This is a serious deal. Like down here, I would say that this is probably the worst hog damage as far as crops go.
For pig numbers and populations and damage here.
Millions of wild pigs have been destroying crops, pastures, and even neighborhoods throughout the United States, causing farmers and local experts to fight a losing battle against feral hogs. Regardless of the number of traps, firearms, or drones they used, these intelligent, productive animals always kept their lead and grew more quickly than they could be controlled. Everything changed when officials identified the killer hog responsible for the steady losses. One crafty animal that prompted a startling reaction. The whole area had to be evacuated. How could a single hog cause such panic? Join us in this video as we discuss the details. The killer of feral hogs in USA that made them evacuate. For many years, people believed that feral hogs had almost no natural enemies in the United States. These animals had become so strong, so aggressive, and so widespread that many farmers and wildlife experts assumed that very few predators would even try to hunt them. Adult hogs can weigh hundreds of pounds, and they carry sharp tusks that can grow several inches long. Because of that, most predators tend to avoid them. It simply does not seem worth the risk. However, something unusual started happening in several southern states. Wildlife agencies began noticing that in certain areas, feral hog groups were slowly disappearing. These were not just a few animals missing here and there. Entire groups, sometimes 30 or even 40 hogs, were suddenly gone from places where they had been common for many years. At first, people thought hunters might be responsible, but that explanation did not fit the evidence.
Having problems with feral hogs where you hunt, I want to tell you about a new trap design that's out and available. It's an innovation in hog trapping.
Hunting activity had not increased in those areas. Traps that were placed in the fields had not been touched. Ranchers had not reported any large hunting operations either. Yet the hog numbers were clearly dropping. Because of this strange pattern, a research team decided to investigate further. In 2014, scientists set up several trail cameras deep inside hog territory in Blanco County, Texas. These cameras were placed in locations where hogs were known to travel and raise their young. The goal was simple. The researchers wanted to see what was happening when no humans were around. The cameras were left in place for several weeks. When the team finally returned and reviewed the footage, they were shocked by what they saw. The animals responsible for the disappearing hogs were not large predators like mountain lions or wolves. Instead, the footage showed coyotes. At first, this did not seem possible. Coyotes are much smaller than adult feral hogs. A typical coyote weighs around 30 pounds, while a full-grown hog can weigh 10 times that amount. It would seem like an impossible fight. But the coyotes were not attacking adult hogs. They were targeting the piglets. The videos showed something even more surprising. The coyotes were not hunting randomly, they were working together. They appeared to have developed a careful and organized way of hunting hog piglets. According to the research footage, the coyotes usually approached a hog nest from downwind. This allowed them to stay hidden from the mother hog, which has a very strong sense of smell. The coyotes moved slowly and stayed low to the ground. Sometimes they waited quietly in the brush for long periods of time. The most important moment came when the mother hog left the nest to search for food. Even if she stepped away for only a few minutes, the coyotes were ready. Once the mother moved far enough away, the coyotes quickly rushed toward the piglets. The entire attack happened extremely fast. In many cases, the coyotes grabbed a piglet and disappeared within just a few seconds. By the time the mother hog realized what had happened and rushed back to the nest, the coyotes were already gone. Researchers noticed that these attacks were not random acts. Some coyote groups seemed to practice what scientists described as dry runs. They would approach the nest quietly, observe the mother hog's movements, and then leave without attacking. Later, they would return when the situation was more favorable. The coyotes also appeared to rotate roles. One coyote might watch for danger while another moved closer to the nest. During the next attack, the same animals might switch positions. This behavior suggested that the coyotes were learning and adapting their strategy. Scientists later studied coyotes captured in hog-heavy regions. When they examined the stomach contents of these animals, they found clear evidence that piglets had been eaten recently. Other studies also discovered piglet DNA in coyote droppings collected across several counties. This evidence confirmed what the cameras had shown. Coyotes were not just scavenging dead piglets, they were actively hunting them. Over time, researchers began to notice something important. In areas where coyote populations were strong, the survival rate of hog piglets dropped significantly. In some regions, nearly 1/3 of piglets disappear every season. This discovery changed the way many wildlife experts viewed coyotes. For decades, coyotes had often been treated as pests. Ranchers sometimes blamed them for livestock losses, and many areas even paid bounties for killing them. But the research suggested that coyotes might actually be helping control one of the most destructive invasive species in the country. By reducing the number of piglets that survive to adulthood, coyotes were slowing the explosive growth of feral hog populations. What started as a strange mystery about disappearing hogs had turned into something much more important. Nature itself had quietly created a solution that many people had never noticed before. And that discovery would soon force wildlife officials to rethink many of their long-standing policies about predators and invasive species. If coyotes were helping control hog numbers, how did feral hogs become such a massive problem in the first place? Let's delve deeper. The growing crisis of feral hogs and the search for solutions. To fully understand why the discovery about coyotes mattered so much, it is important to understand how serious the feral hog problem has become in the United States. These animals did not originally belong in North America. Their presence can be traced back hundreds of years. During the 16th century, Spanish explorers released domestic pigs along the Gulf Coast. The idea was simple. These pigs would reproduce in the wild and provide food for future expeditions traveling through the area. At the time, the plan seemed like a practical solution. However, the pigs adapted very well to the wild. They survived, reproduced, and slowly spread across large areas of land. Later, in the early 20th century, another factor made the problem even worse. Wealthy hunting enthusiasts imported Eurasian wild boars into the United States so they could hunt them for sport. These animals were stronger and more aggressive than domestic pigs. Eventually, the domestic pigs and wild boars interbred. The result was a new hybrid population that combined the survival skills of wild boars with the reproductive strength of domestic pigs. These animals proved extremely difficult to control. Today, the feral hog population in the United States has reached massive numbers. According to estimates mentioned in the transcript, there are roughly 6.9 million feral hogs across the country. Texas alone is home to around 2.6 million of them. These animals cause enormous damage wherever they appear. Farmers frequently wake up to find that their crops have been completely destroyed overnight. Hogs dig into the soil while searching for food, tearing up fields, gardens, and even residential lawns. In some areas, the damage goes beyond agriculture. There have been cases where hogs dug deep enough to damage underground cables and water systems. In Texas, feral hogs have even disrupted operations at military airfields by wandering onto runways. The financial impact is enormous. Experts estimate that feral hogs cause around $3 billion in damage across the United States every year. Feral hogs also create serious health risks. Because they often wallow in mud and water, they can spread bacteria and parasites into nearby water sources. These animals carry dozens of diseases that can affect both humans and livestock. Another problem is how quickly hog populations grow. A single female hog can produce 2 litters every year. Each litter can contain as many as 12 piglets. Because of this rapid reproduction, populations can expand extremely quickly if nothing slows them down. For many years, people tried to control hog populations using hunting and traps. However, these methods often had limited success. Feral hogs are intelligent animals, and they quickly learn to avoid traps after a few failed attempts. Recently, wildlife managers have begun using new technology to improve their efforts. Modern traps are now equipped with cameras and remote controls. Farmers can watch a group of hogs enter a trap through a live video feed and then close the gate when the entire group is inside. Helicopter hunting is another method used in certain regions. These aerial operations allow hunters to reach areas that are difficult to access on foot, especially in swamps or dense forests. Even with these methods, experts now believe that no single strategy will solve the problem completely. Instead, they have begun focusing on combined approaches. One of the most important lessons learned from recent research is that natural predators must also be part of the solution. Coyotes, which were once widely hunted and removed, are now being recognized as an important factor in controlling hog populations. By preying on piglets, coyotes reduce the number of young hogs that survive long enough to reproduce. This natural pressure can slow population growth in ways that traps and hunting alone cannot achieve. In some areas where coyotes were heavily removed through bounty programs, hog populations actually increased. Without coyotes hunting piglets, more young hogs survived, leading to larger populations within just a few years. Because of this, wildlife experts are now emphasizing the importance of working with natural ecosystems instead of fighting against them. Coyotes, traps, aerial hunting, and coordinated management programs are all being used together to address the crisis. The feral hog problem remains a serious challenge, but the discovery about coyotes has changed how many scientists and officials think about the issue. Sometimes, the most effective solutions are already present in nature, quietly working in ways that humans simply have not noticed yet. If coyotes can naturally control feral hog populations in parts of the South, then why are these animals still spreading so rapidly across the rest of the continent? And what new challenges are emerging in places like Canada? Let's find out. The silent war against feral hogs and the rise of the super pigs. A quiet but serious conflict has been unfolding across large parts of the United States and Canada as farmers, wildlife experts, and government agencies struggle to manage the rapidly growing population of feral hogs. This situation has grown into what many describe as a silent war. Although it rarely appears in mainstream news, the efforts to contain these animals involve large-scale operations and constant attention. Various methods are employed, including nighttime hunting, advanced monitoring systems, and aerial operations using helicopters. Despite these efforts, the feral hog population continues to increase in many regions. Advanced technology plays a central role in managing these animals. Hunters and wildlife teams often use thermal scopes to detect hogs in the dark and deploy cameras and motion sensors to track their movements. Helicopters are frequently used to reach areas that are difficult or impossible to access on foot, allowing operators to chase and remove entire groups. Millions of rounds of ammunition are fired annually during these control operations, yet the population of feral hogs continues to rise, demonstrating the adaptability and resilience of these animals. In addition to the challenges in the United States, a new and troubling problem has emerged in Canada. A breed known as super pigs has begun spreading across the Canadian prairies. These animals are hybrids, created by crossing wild boars with domestic pigs.
On the so-called super pigs. He calls them an ecological train wreck. They're crossbreeds, wild boars deliberately bred with domestic pigs.
And were developed to survive in harsh, cold climates. Their larger size and enhanced strength make them especially difficult to manage. These super pigs can weigh more than 600 pounds, far larger than most feral hogs in the southern United States, and they continue to expand their range across Canadian provinces, including Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta. Their movement toward Ontario, British Columbia, and Quebec raises concerns that they could soon cross into the northern United States, introducing a more powerful and challenging threat. Environmental conditions in the United States have contributed significantly to the feral hog problem. Many areas, particularly in the southern states, provide near-perfect conditions for these animals. Large rural areas give them abundant space and access to food, while the warm climate allows them to reproduce throughout the year. This continuous breeding cycle enables populations to grow quickly, often without natural limitations. This contrasts sharply with Europe, where wild boars have coexisted with humans for thousands of years without reaching similar levels of destruction. Colder winters, mountainous terrain, and denser human populations limit the spread of wild boars. In the United States, however, vast open land and favorable weather create ideal conditions for feral hogs to thrive, making their population growth difficult to control. The lack of strong natural predators further exacerbates the problem. Some animals, such as mountain lions and black bears, occasionally attack feral hogs, but they often prefer easier prey because adult hogs are dangerous and equipped with sharp tusks. The gray wolf, historically one of the most effective natural predators of wild pigs, was largely eliminated from the lower 48 states by the 50s due to hunting and eradication programs. Although wolf populations have slowly begun to recover, they now occupy only about 3% of their original range. This limited presence is not nearly enough to control feral hog populations across the extensive areas they now inhabit. Hunting, while often viewed as a solution, can sometimes worsen the problem. When hunters remove some animals from a group, the survivors scatter and relocate to new areas, becoming more cautious around humans. Many hunted hogs begin moving primarily at night, which makes tracking and removal even more difficult. Studies show that at least 70% of the hog population must be eliminated each year to prevent growth, a target that most hunting programs fail to reach, allowing populations to expand. One clear example of this issue occurred at Fort Benning, where a 9-month effort aimed at reducing the local hog population produced unexpected results. More than 1,000 pigs were attacked, and over $57,000 in bounties were paid. Instead of reducing numbers, the population increased. Pig density rose, groups became larger, and female hogs produced more offspring than before. This outcome demonstrates the limitations of hunting as a sole method of control. Removing only part of a group can disrupt social structures and allow the survivors to spread and reproduce faster. Effective management of feral hogs requires carefully planned, coordinated strategies that combine multiple approaches rather than relying exclusively on hunting. So, with feral hogs spreading across the continent, how are farmers and experts fighting back these relentless invaders? Let's learn more. Battling the invasive feral hogs. Feral hogs have become one of the biggest challenges for farmers and wildlife managers across the United States. One of the main ways these pigs are controlled is through helicopter hunting. Ryan Ashcraft, a 27-year-old helicopter operator, flies 3 to 4 times a week, hunting pigs from the air. During each flight, he can kill around 20 to 30 pigs. He flies low, about 200 feet, moving carefully between fields, power lines, and farmland. These hunts are not for fun, they are necessary. Despite repeated efforts, the pigs continue to damage crops, showing how hard it is to control them. Over time, helicopter hunting has also become a business, offering organized hunts for tourists, bachelor parties, and recreational hunters. This business helps the local economy while addressing a serious problem. Trapping is another important method for controlling feral hogs. Traditional traps are expensive and sometimes do not work well, but newer trap designs have improved results. On one 32,000-acre ranch, a modern trap caught more than 50 pigs overnight. After capture, the animals are sent to holding facilities. Some are sent to meat markets, while others are euthanized if there is low demand. Trapping is more effective than regular hunting because it removes entire groups at once. If only part of a group is removed, the remaining pigs scatter and breed quickly. This is important because feral hogs reproduce very fast, making partial hunting ineffective. The ethics of feral hog control, especially helicopter hunting, can be tricky. Operators like Ashcraft know it is hard to kill animals, but they see it as necessary. He compares it to pest control in homes, like getting rid of rats or cockroaches. While no one enjoys killing animals, it is needed to protect crops, livestock, and the environment. Proper control of feral hogs helps prevent economic losses and reduces the risk of diseases that pigs can carry, which can affect both humans and farm animals. The government has also become involved in managing feral hogs. In 2018, Congress approved nearly $75 million for the Federal Swine Eradication Program through the Farm Bill. This program helps fund hunting, trapping, and monitoring efforts to control hog populations. It also supports coordination between government agencies, farmers, and hunters. The program aims not only to protect crops, but also to reduce the spread of diseases carried by wild pigs. Federal support ensures that management is organized and can reach large areas where hogs are a problem. The growing number of feral hogs, along with human expansion into rural areas, makes the problem worse. Land that used to be isolated now has houses, roads, and farms. As hog populations grow, they move into new areas and sometimes reach places near cities. Even communities that have never had hogs may soon face problems. The combination of increasing numbers, adaptability, and expanding human settlements means that controlling these animals is not a simple task. It requires careful planning, cooperation, and continuous effort from farmers, hunters, and government agencies. Helicopter hunting and advanced trapping methods are key tools in the fight against feral hogs. While these methods raise ethical questions, most experts agree they are necessary to reduce damage to crops, property, and ecosystems. Federal programs provide funding, coordination, and guidance to support local efforts. At the same time, the spread of hogs into urban and suburban areas shows that the problem is growing. Without ongoing, organized action, feral hogs will continue to multiply, causing more economic and environmental harm. In conclusion, managing feral hogs is a complex and ongoing challenge. Helicopter hunting, modern trapping, and government programs are all essential parts of the solution. While ethical concerns exist, controlling hogs is necessary to protect farmland, livestock, and human communities. Urban expansion and rapid population growth make it even more urgent to maintain consistent and coordinated efforts. Failing to act effectively will allow feral hogs to spread further and cause even more damage, highlighting the importance of continued attention and action. So, if wild hogs are already wreaking havoc on farms, how are they now invading towns? And what can communities do to defend themselves? Stay tuned for more. Farms, neighborhoods, and the fight for control. Feral hogs in the United States are proving to be very smart, strong, and hard to control. Farmers and wildlife managers have been using technology to track and manage these animals, and drones have become one of the most useful tools. Drones with infrared cameras can see in the dark and show exactly where hogs are moving at night. With GPS and live video, hunters can follow the hogs and catch them more effectively. Some hogs are worth thousands of dollars, and drones allow hunters to find and target them quickly. But the hogs are learning too. Many herds now avoid lights and can hear drones coming. They are learning to stay safe from human efforts, which makes the fight harder. Dogs are also important in controlling feral hogs. On farms, dogs act as guards and hunters. They can smell or hear hogs before humans can. Some dogs are trained to track, corner, and hold wild hogs until hunters arrive. In neighborhoods, dogs often scare hogs away from yards, protecting property and people. These dogs give farmers and families not only safety, but also peace of mind, helping with work that technology alone cannot do. Despite these tools, keeping wild hogs as pets is very dangerous. Even if they start small and seem friendly, they keep their wild instincts. Wild boars fight for food, protect themselves, and can be aggressive. A young hog may be a few pounds at first, but within months it can weigh over 100 pounds and grow sharp tusks. These animals can injure humans, pets, and livestock. A hog raised at home also smells other hogs outside, which can attract wild herds into neighborhoods. People who think they can tame them risk serious danger. Communities have also created hunting competitions to manage the hog populations. Events like the Texas Hog Fest, the Great American Boar Hunt, and the North American Hog Hunt encourage hunters to work together. Some competitions reward hunters who kill the most hogs, while others focus on the biggest animals. Teams often plan carefully and work across large areas of farmland. Prizes, medals, and recognition motivate participation, but the contests are sometimes controversial. Animal rights groups say that the hunts can become entertainment rather than population control. Supporters argue that without these events, hogs would multiply without limit, causing more damage to crops, wildlife, and even the hogs themselves. Even with drones, dogs, and hunting competitions, wild hogs are still very hard to control. They reproduce quickly, sometimes having 2 litters a year with 6 to 10 piglets in each. Their numbers grow faster than people can kill them. Because of this, control efforts mostly slow down the population instead of stopping it. Hogs are intelligent and adaptable, which means that farmers, hunters, and communities must keep learning new ways to manage them. Wild hogs are no longer just a problem for farms. They are moving into towns and cities. People see them in yards, parks, and even playgrounds. These animals are attracted to easy food, such as garbage bins left outside, pet food, or spilled birdseed. They destroy lawns, gardens, and fences, and can even damage irrigation systems. For families, especially those with children or pets, wild hogs can be dangerous because they can charge without warning. Local authorities, like police, are often called when wild hogs enter neighborhoods. Police respond to protect people and property, sometimes using vehicles, lights, or weapons to drive the animals away. Residents are also advised to take preventive measures such as securing garbage, removing food outdoors, and reporting sightings quickly. Early action helps reduce the risk of attacks or property damage. In summary, wild hogs are a growing problem across the United States. Drones, dogs, hunting events, and law enforcement all help control them, but no method can completely stop their spread. These animals reproduce quickly, learn from humans, and can adapt to many environments. The best way to manage them is through a combination of tools, community efforts, and preventive actions. Wild hogs remain a serious threat to farms, neighborhoods, and safety, and people must continue to work together to limit the damage they cause. If feral hogs were overwhelming individual farmers with destruction, how did Texas transform isolated struggles into a coordinated, high-tech campaign? Let's take a closer look. How Texas fights feral hogs with technology, traps, and teamwork.
The United States government has bought into the problem. Congress invested almost $75 million in the feral swine eradication program as part of the 2018 Farm Bill, effectively encouraging population control.
Texas has been facing one of the toughest problems for farmers: the huge number of feral hogs and the damage they cause. These wild animals reproduce quickly, move across large areas, and can destroy crops, fences, and property. To fight this problem, Texas has used several methods at the same time, combining technology, chemicals, teamwork, reproductive control, and new economic opportunities. Working together, these strategies are much more effective than when each farm tries to handle the hogs alone. One major tool has been smart traps. These are large pens with gates, cameras, and mobile connections. Farmers can watch hogs in real time from their phones. Unlike normal traps that catch only a few animals, smart traps can catch entire groups at once. The gates are controlled remotely so that operators can wait until all the hogs are inside before closing it. Many farmers share these traps across several farms to cover more land and stop hogs from escaping. Texas has also used chemical control. Special poisons are made only for feral hogs. These poisons are not used carelessly. Only trained and certified people can handle them. Farmers first feed hogs normal or non-poison bait, so they learn to use the feeders. After the hogs are comfortable, the poison is slowly added. This method can remove whole groups of 20 to 30 hogs at a time, making it much more effective than traditional hunting. The most important change has been regional coordination. Before, each farm worked alone. Hog populations quickly adapted by moving to areas where there was less hunting or trapping. Texas changed this by coordinating actions across many farms and counties. Farmers and wildlife officers used smart traps, poisons, and aerial surveillance at the same time. By keeping constant pressure on hogs, escape routes were closed, and populations dropped faster and stayed low. Texas has also started looking at reproductive control. Scientists are testing methods that make hogs infertile by affecting their hormones. Both male and female hogs can be targeted. If successful, this approach can reduce populations slowly over time without killing animals. While challenges remain, such as feeding enough hogs the contraceptive bait and keeping other animals away from it, this method could stop hogs from multiplying and reduce the cycle of damage. Technology plays a big role. Thermal cameras and drones help map where hogs are hiding, where they sleep, and the paths they take between feeding areas. Hunters use this information to remove animals more efficiently. Night hunting with thermal imaging helps locate entire groups before they destroy crops. This real-time data allows farmers to act quickly instead of reacting after the damage is done. The coordinated system has also created economic opportunities. New businesses supply and maintain smart traps, drones, helicopter hunting services, and training for operators. Carcass collection and processing also create income. What used to be only a problem now provides jobs, revenue, and better control of hog populations. Farmers share costs, technology, and information, which reduces expenses and improves results. The results are clear. In areas using multiple methods together, feral hog numbers have fallen by 60 to 70% in 2 years. Crop losses have gone down too. Fields that were once completely destroyed now face only occasional damage. Farmers can save money, reduce labor, and keep their land productive. The combination of smart traps, poison, night hunting, aerial surveillance, and teamwork has changed how Texas manages this serious problem. In conclusion, the feral hog problem in Texas shows that large-scale animal issues cannot be solved by a single method. Success comes from using many tools together, coordinating efforts, and applying constant pressure. By combining traps, chemicals, technology, teamwork, and reproductive control, Texas has turned a major agricultural threat into a manageable problem. Other regions facing invasive species may benefit from this approach, showing that cooperation, planning, and innovation can work even against very fast-growing animal populations. What do you think about the damages caused by feral hogs? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for joining us as we explored the wild and relentless fight against feral hogs in Texas. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the next video on your screen to see more eye-opening stories. See you there.